Welcome to issue 2 of GIMP magazine. This is the director's cut and commentary where we go behind the scenes. In this issue, we have a couple of special features for you. First off, we have an exclusive interview with Sandra Livingston, our editor. Secondly, we have the filming of a TV spot for EP Daily that we were involved with. And third, we have the unboxing video of the first physically printed copy of GIMP magazine. All this and a page-by-page walkthrough of issue number 2. So let's jump in and get started.
My name is Sandra Livingston, and I'm a writer and editor. I discovered GIMP quite by chance through an editor's listserv. Since I create my own book covers, I needed a stable, low-cost graphics program, preferably one with lots of help and resources, and GIMP fit the bill perfectly. I was so impressed when I downloaded the program and tried it that I sent a tweet out to pass the GIMP site on to others. Steve spotted it and told me that the first issue of GIMP magazine was in the works. I checked it out, and one thing that really intrigued me besides the software itself was the generosity of everyone involved in building the launch of the magazine, sharing their time and talents in articles for everyone, from casual users to experienced graphic artists. Issue 1 got an amazing reception, and it's had well over 100,000 views since launch. That kind of reaction really shows the level of enthusiasm people have for the software and the curiosity to see really the limits of what can be done with it and what other users are creating. The best thing about issue 2 is that it retains a very accessible feel for people at all skill levels, people who might be using GIMP for a broad spectrum of projects. I say that from the perspective of a relatively new GIMP user, and someone who only has a small amount of formal training in graphics. With so much awesome talent and experience out there to showcase, it would be very easy for GIMP magazine to focus on higher level techniques and tutorials. But it's kept a nice blend of content, everything from basic to advanced. There are master classes and Q&As from incredibly skilled artists like David Ravoy and Yesha Winnell. There are practical guides like the tutorial on setting up and using GIMP 2.8 on a tablet, and there are links to all kinds of resources for those just starting out. To me, that really encourages everyone in the GIMP user community to share what they know and build on the program's possibilities. Looking ahead, it's the involvement of readers and contributors that will keep the magazine fresh and relevant. The software will evolve, new features will be added, and users will come up with techniques we haven't even imagined yet. So there's really no end to the possibilities of what material GIMP magazine could cover, especially with nearly 7 million users around the globe. It's impossible to even guess at how much cool content is out there that the magazine could feature. But if the first 2 issues are any hint, the future of GIMP magazine is bound to be big.
A bit about the EP Daily filming of GIMP magazine. Thanks to the television show EP Daily and Greedy Productions, GIMP magazine will be featured around the world on TV. It was so much fun to be a part of this filming and share the experience with all of the Canadian team members of GIMP magazine. The shoot took us about an hour and a half to complete, and what happened was they filmed about 10 minutes of content that gets edited down to a 2-minute and 15-second spot. We feel that this is a big deal for not only GIMP magazine, but GIMP software and the overall open source community. So many thanks to the people at EP Daily. And now the unboxing of the first officially printed copy of GIMP magazine. We chose a service called MagCloud, we set it all up, and we ordered a copy a few weeks ago. And this is the unboxing of copy number 1 of GIMP magazine. And let's just open it up and see what we got here. I should probably go with this better.
Seems tough there.
Packing slip it is. There we go.
All right, there it is. The packing slip is off.
Packing slip is off.
Step number 1.
Step 2, opening the box. Here we go.
Ooh, packing slip. I see something.
Hey. Look at this. We were so impressed by the quality of this magazine, which is actually closer to a high-end graphic novel quality and way better than any monthly magazine that you would purchase off the shelf. Details will be made available on our website for purchasing your very own printed copy of GIMP magazine. All right, so let's do a walkthrough of issue number 2. Starting with the cover here, we have cover art supplied by Yeshua Nell. This, for us, really fit well with the idea that GIMP is not only a photographer's tool, but it's also about digital arts. And having this artwork done by Yeshua Nell just really fit well with that. How this displayed in the cover, we also really liked. I like how his left ear kind of peeks over the logo there, and the paintbrush kind of goes out of the box and creates a drop shadow at the very bottom. All of this was done with a combination of both GIMP and Scribus, and I'm really, really happy with how that cover turned out. With respect to the table of contents, you'll notice here that we've doubled our content from 50 to 100 pages. And we were also able to do that by also improving our internal systems that we use to manage the magazine. So for us, it didn't create, double the effort, but we're actually doing this more efficiently now, so we can sort of sustain a 100-page magazine on a regular basis without too much trouble. I'm blown away with the amount of content that is coming in at this point, and the quality of it is just outstanding. And you can just see it by the amazing images that are not only in the table of contents but throughout the magazine here. With respect to the letter from the editor, just the first paragraph there. I mean, this is taking off way bigger than I had ever expected, and I think anybody on the team way bigger than they had ever expected as well. And we just really want to say a sincere thanks to everybody that's been a part of this and who has kind of shared the word about GIMP software and, of course, GIMP magazine. And we really appreciate that. I mean, there's a number of stats that you'll see there in paragraph 2, but the stats don't really mean anything. It's the comments that count, and that's what's important to us. So keep spreading the word about GIMP magazine. We appreciate it. We have some content, or I should say contact information here of how you can reach us and how you can contact us. And we have a special thanks there to some of the blogs and websites that have promoted us or blogged about us or whatnot. We appreciate that, and we're going to continue to do this. And on page 8 here and page 9, we have a series of comments that have basically came up from people that were interested in the magazine. They either made a comment on our blog, comment on our issues site, comment on Twitter, comment on our Google Plus site, or something like that, or even sent in an email. And we tried to encapsulate these comments and basically publish them here. And I have to say that this is only a small fraction of the comments that we had received. So we just want to say, a sincere thanks back from the entire team to all of you who really made this possible for us. And that 10,000 downloads in the first day just kind of blew everybody away. It took us all by surprise. So many thanks to everybody on that. David Revoy, wow. We were all blown away with his artwork and the variety of artwork that he supplied to us. When I first contacted David, he was a little bit apprehensive about doing the story with GIMP magazine. He started out with a piece that we all really liked called Ella. And Ella was done with, it's on his website, you can check it out. It was done with GIMP 2.6. And we started talking about that a little bit. And he said that he had basically moved on from GIMP and he's using some other open source software packages to do certain components of his work. Still uses GIMP to manage his images and whatnot, but not so much painting anymore. And we thought that, it was a really interesting story to tell. And we're hoping that the GIMP developers will read this and value this. And there's really a really great story here. And the artwork that goes along with it is just fantastic. So we just want to thank David for doing this and being a part of GIMP magazine. We really appreciate it. The next series of pieces we have here is a couple of sort of mini featurettes here We have Martin here, who has done some incredible artwork, and he supplied us these raw images, and I really like the one here on the left-hand side of this page, and the tree image. And basically, I decided to put a frame around it and put it on a wall, almost like it was a piece of art hanging in a gallery. And this, of course, was done completely with GIMP. And you can check on his website, but he has a very interesting process, which is kind of similar to my artistic process in the sense that I start all of my artwork with actually pen and ink as a calligrapher. And he is somewhat similar in that he does all of his illustrations using pen and ink, and then he gets into colorization using GIMP. Martin has decided to give us an exclusive tutorial that will most likely appear in issue number 3 of GIMP magazine, and we're working on that right now with Martin, and I'm looking forward to that. This gentleman here from Poland has done some incredible artwork. Again, it's with GIMP, and a beautiful digital artwork here. And you just have to look this through. If you want to contact him, his contact information is there at the bottom of the article. I was blown away when I saw this. Just incredible stuff. And Maria, vain as a peacock. I really like this piece as it came in, and I thought that it would look really cool on a blue background with an accent color of the brown there. That's picked up off of almost the coffee stain-like background texture that she created. I just thought it was a really cool piece, and I wanted to bring it out a little bit more and use it sort of a featurette to show this artwork. Again, this is all GIMP. Jeremy, wow, what can I say about Jeremy's artwork? Just outstanding. I mean, I love these kinds of illustrations. And steampunk in particular, I mean, just an incredible piece of art. This is all open source. This is all GIMP, and I'm just blown away by it. You know, I mean, my passion is probably more so within digital art rather than photography. Even though I have a great love for photography, I'm not a photographer myself. So I tend to lean towards digital art, and this stuff here just like, wow. You know, Jeremy was great. We had him do his own logo that we included in here as well, and placed it in his layout, which we hope, you know, captured the essence of the art and helped it to make it look cooler than it already was. So we were really happy with that, how that turned out. So thanks, Jeremy, for doing this. We have a little article here. I should say before we get to the article, we have a special here, which is you want to get started with GIMP. And a lot of members on the team, particularly Oma, suggested this, that we have a component that says, hey, you want to get started with GIMP? Here's some simple steps to do it. Step 1, download the software. Step 2, download or go to the resources page and download some of the resources from those links there. And that's on our website, gimpmagazine.org/resources. And then third, if you wanted to take a course in both GIMP and Inkscape, we have one that's available. It's a digital arts course. You can check out gimpmagazine.org for details, and there's also more details on the last page of the magazine here. Madeline Fisher. Wow, I was really intrigued with this. She actually supplied this in issue 1, and we were able to feature one of her comic strips in issue 1 in the gallery. But it was more work for us, and we didn't have it kind of sorted out yet of how to do a longer sort of tutorial with a number of rich images beside it. So we were able to do that. I mocked this up in a comic book style cover that was actually done in Inkscape, and then I draped her images on top of that and used this really cool font that I downloaded off the internet, which is awesome. So her tutorial is actually a 2-part story. The first part is really, it's called Superhero by Day, and we made up that title for her, even though she wrote the article. But she works with this gentleman named John, and it's a really interesting story that I'm really going to ask you to read because it's a really cool message there about how GIMP can help out in ways that were well beyond what we were ever anticipating for the magazine. And we kind of think she is a real superhero. So kudos to you, Madeline, and this is great that you're doing this, the work that you're doing. Part 2 of her article is basically that she does graphic novels, and she creates these after her day job, And she walks us through step by step on how to do this, starting right from the light board thumbnail sketches that you can see there on page 33, it looks like. And then she walks through how she inks the work, how she does cleanup, how she does color, all the way through to essentially the finished project. I should also mention on page 37, we're starting something new called Tips and Tricks. And these are things that either come from the GIMP magazine staff or from anybody who wants to submit a tip and trick. And this first one here is for the navigation window. I use this all the time. I use it in 2.6, use it in 2.8 as well. And it's pretty fantastic. It just appears at the bottom below your layers menu. And it's a great way to navigate around GIMP, your image. You can zoom in, zoom out, full screen, or go one-to-one, depending on what you want to do. And there's steps here in the magazine as to how to get to that, how to set that up, because I don't believe it's default in 2.8, and it certainly wasn't default in 2.6. And to wrap this up for Madeline, she basically has given us a semi-exclusive of one of her comics that she does in real life. So many thanks to Madeline for doing this. We really appreciate it. We have an oil painting tutorial using GIMP by Susanna Burr, and I really liked how this article read, and I thought it was pretty unique in that it's purely digital arts here, but it's creating artwork in a digital form, not starting with pencil, not starting with ink, anything like that, just starting completely by using your graphics tablet. We do have a link through to a graphics tablet article later on in the magazine. But she essentially shows us how to do this step by step. Also on the page, atop of page 43, we have a tip and trick here, tips and tricks, which is regarding the exporting layers. I use this quite a bit. If you ever had an image that had several layers and you wanted to save them all out as individual files, this is the trick for you. It's a little extension or a script that you install, and we also have a link here on how to install scripts as well. And you basically go to the official GIMP.org website, download the script, install it, and then it's like file export or something like that runs the utility. It's a pretty cool tool to use. We also have our design gallery here, and to kick off our design gallery, we have a piece that I had done a few years ago, and I felt that it would be a good fit for the magazine itself. And this is a calligraphy border that I had done. This was really the culmination of my skills increasing in GIMP 2.6, as well as my skills increasing in calligraphy. And those two sort of collided, and this kind of came out of that, sort of as a happy accident, so to speak. In fact, it was quite a few months of development to prepare this. I had done an original border about 20 years ago, and I wanted to do something like that, but different, and this was it. It was a circular version of that. I have I think it's about a 5-part video series that I've done, video tutorial on how to create these, and it's all linked there. There's a YouTube link on the PDF version of this document that you can just click on, and you can check out all 5 of these short little video tutorials. I think they're like 10 minutes a piece or something, to show you how to create this. On the next slide here, we have Yeshua Nell, and another piece of artwork that he did, which we thought was just incredible. And we also have a piece from my father. My father was a professional artist during the day. He's now retired, and he's now gone into fine art. He used to be a sign painter, and like I say, he's retired. Now he's studying fine art, and this was one of his sketches. This was just a quick sketch that he did, and I was able to pull it into GIMP, clean it up a little bit from his sketchbook, and place it on the gallery image here. These are some interesting pieces from different people here. A piece called Ice which I thought was pretty spectacular. And there's also some textures here on the right-hand side that came from Flickr. On page 56, we have Carlos, who's done some really amazing painting, it looks like here. And then on page 57, we have Olin, and he has created this cookie here. This it looks like Google Chrome cookie, and we thought it was pretty cool. And it was actually done in Blender, and then I believe it was post-processed in GIMP and colorized in GIMP. And Olin has promised us a full-length tutorial in a future issue coming up. We're hoping that'll be issue 3, but we're not sure. This is Maria as well on page 58. She's done some incredible artwork, and this is an example of one of those pieces. And on page 59, we have Angels and Demons here. Kind of inspired from the movie, but pretty much a standalone piece. The skull in the middle I had drawn actually many years ago, and I just sort of scanned and resurrected that piece, and I was able to incorporate it in this artwork here. I've also taken this artwork, which was done entirely in GIMP and Inkscape, and I was able to export it and send this to a service that basically prints t-shirts here. And the service is called Cafe Press. If you wanted to buy a t-shirt, you could. You're more than welcome to. But the idea is that you can create artwork for free, and you can create your own t-shirts, and you can publish those t-shirts, and then you can make money off of the sale of those t-shirts yourself. So it's a great way to do that. You don't need expensive software to do this with. We have a couple of other pieces here. One's Mass Scream. We have an album cover there in the bottom left of page 60. And we have this interesting sort of illustration / photo manipulation on page 61, which we thought was pretty cool. It was sort of an experiment that this gentleman had produced. And on page 62 and 63, we have Eddie here producing some background textures, and he has a complete selection of these textures that you can use in your images. They're Creative Commons, and we provided the Flickr links for that. Pretty spectacular stuff. And then on page 64 and 65, we have Ramon, who has done basically an image that was used in a video game, and this was created with GIMP and a little bit of GIMP Paint Studio as well. And we're hoping to get an article on Paint Studio coming up in a future issue of GIMP magazine. And of course Troll here, which we thought fit well with the whole Volcano Land piece as well. Sort of dark, sort of evil, almost looking images here on this bright red sort of background, which was kind of cool. And I mean, it's so fun to create GIMP magazine, and to lay this out, and to get this amazing artwork. Wow, I'm just really grateful to be a part of this and to be able to do this, because it is a lot of fun and it's very creative. There's no rules for us. Well, I should say we do have rules, but we often break those rules for creativity, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, on page 66, we have what could become a graphic novel that spins off of GIMP magazine. We're tentatively calling it The Hunt for Wilbur. It's done by Dave Lepek, and he has written it, and this is Dave's journal, page 1. A couple pages down the road, we have the final page of this, or I should say page 2. And it's really the kickoff to the idea of a graphic novel created with GIMP, illustrated, and we're going to have hopefully something either at issue 3 or before issue 3, one of the two things. But we're going to have more information on this as we go. This is just a teaser to that graphic novel product that we want to create. Now, on page 67, kicks off the Get to Know the Real Wilbur. And this is a masterclass by Yeshua Nell. And what we did was we framed this whole thing in sort of a storybook look. And the reason for that was because when we saw the original image, it had almost that, the clothing that Wilbur was wearing almost looked like this sort of Pinocchio character, way back in the ages. And it just felt like a storybook. It just felt like a once upon a time sort of storybook. So we threw it in this, and and then we came up with a graphic look that kind of surrounded it. So you opened up the front page, you open up the cover, and you see the front page, and there is the illustration of Wilbur, almost an evil-looking Wilbur, if you will. And beside that, you have sort of the classical way that storybooks were done a long time ago. This is kind of the format that they would use. Of course, they probably wouldn't use the same fonts, but it's a similar sort of match to that. We thought that this had a nice feel to it. And then, of course, the framed picture about Yeshua, and a little bit of legend about Wilbur itself. Wilbur's a very elusive character, and this is what actually spawned the Hunt for Wilbur graphic novel, was this piece here on the top of page 70. And this was by Alexia Death, and she's a member of the core GIMP software team, and we had some contact with her about that. And she was telling us she was a pretty elusive character, and you're gonna see more about that, and you're gonna learn more about Wilbur in future issues of GIMP magazine, which we think is kind of cool. Some of the prerequisites for this particular tutorial here is he used GIMP 2.8 for it. He used a specialized high-pass filter, which comes with GIMP 2.8. Basically a standard PC, maybe a little higher than normal. He uses a tablet as well, and then he had basically the standard brushes that come with GIMP itself, with GIMP 2.8 itself. He walks us through this tutorial in a really great way, like all the way from step 1 to I believe step 6. But it was interesting for me to see how these were illustrated, because this is not my area of expertise. I've always wanted to know how someone creates these illustrations. I didn't realize, like I kind of assumed it was from a sketch at the beginning. I get that. But then it was this sort of preparing the base in step 2 that I was very interested with. It's almost like a grayscale representation of it. And then as you proceed with step 3, you're starting to add depth, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you don't actually get to color until step 4. And that threw me, because normally, when I illustrate, and I'm not a an illustrator by any stretch, but I usually start with color, and that's not the place to go. So this was really enlightening for me. And then getting to, of course, step 5, adding the detail, step 6, getting to the colorization, the final colorization, which was pretty cool. Learning about that. Now, one note here, the editor's note. One of the things that I realized when I was going back and forth with Yeshua, and particularly on the cover story, I'd asked him to give me this drawing in a series of layers. And the way he works is a little bit different. So this editor's note sort of covers that. And it's an interesting way to look at it. So I do get you to read that if you could. To wrap up on the masterclass here, we have, of course, the back cover of the book. And then finally we have, to the right-hand side here, we have the final part of the Meet for Wilbur. And you see some artifacts that are sitting on the desk here with that. You see a passport, you see a map showing a Wilbur sighting. And this all goes towards the whole graphic novel look and feel, and what we want to accomplish, hopefully for issue 3, if not sooner. So look forward to that. On page 79, we do have an art contest that we're rolling out in issue 2, and we hope to have something featured probably in issue 4, maybe in issue 3. And what we'd like to do is showcase some of the amazing artwork that you guys provide us with. And there's a couple of rules here. Contest is open to everyone. You must use GIMP, Inkscape, or some kind of open source software to create your illustration. It has to be a minimum of 4 inches wide and 300 dpi. And it can be a JPEG, PNG, so on. There's a number of acceptable themes that you can use. We're asking that you hand this in by January 15th. And the only way that you can hand it in is to submit it through gimpmagazine.org/submissions. And we're going to look at all of these that come in and then hopefully prepare an article, like I said, in a future upcoming issue of GIMP Magazine. And on page 80, I just want to tell you about a project that I had worked on for a guild that I belong to. I belong to the Calligraphic Arts Guild of Toronto. And they basically approached me and said, would you be able to look at doing a brochure for the upcoming season of our guild, 2012 and 2013. And I said, sure. And when I started the process, I was assuming one thing, and completely came out with a different result, which I was really happy with. And the whole story here is written in. I also want to point out that this was done using GIMP, Inkscape, and Scribus, what I'm calling kind of the triple play here, if you will. It's all free software. It's all incredibly stable software, and I used it to create these brochures. It was a small print run of less than 1,000, but the quality of it I was really impressed with. And I used a local printer. I used UPS, I believe, as a local printer to do this. And of course, double-sided brochure, 4-panel, digital print, not offset, and full bleed. And we were really happy with them. And in addition to the written article here, at the very end, there's a link not only to my website that talks about it, but also to a 26-minute video tutorial that you can watch. And I go over kind of the major steps or major components in that to show you how to create stuff in GIMP, how to master stuff or how to vectorize stuff in Inkscape, and then how to lay it out using Scribus. And then to get to that ultimate PDF at the end that gets handed over to the printer, and they print, 100 or a couple hundred copies, as many as you want, of that artwork. And that's done using Scribus, GIMP, and Inkscape. And then, of course, we have this article using a graphics tablet with GIMP 2.8. And Rolf Steinert of Meet the GIMP basically created this article for us. And it shows us how to not only set up a tablet, but also to get going with it and become productive with it. And there were some things here with the tablet that I didn't realize you could do. And I thought that was a pretty good article and very well done. He also has a video tutorial that goes with this article here as well. It's called Episode 183 Dynamics, and there's a direct link to that, to his blog for that tutorial. It's about a 20-minute tutorial that you can download, and it is a video tutorial with voiceover, so he shows you these step by step. So we thought that was a great sort of mix where we're getting into not only a leading article, but also a video tutorial that goes with it to give it a complete sort of package. And then finally here we have the Artist's Guide to GIMP, and this is a book review that was done by Oma Dial. And I think she did an amazing job. It's a really cool book, and I think it's a really solid and clear review of that book. So we were happy with this process. The people at No Starch Press approached us and said, would you be interested in doing a review for this book? We said, absolutely, we'd love to. They sent us a copy of the book. We looked it over. Oma basically ran with this, did the review, and then we put it out here in issue 2. So you got to check that out. And then finally here on page 96 we have some information of if you want to do submissions or if you want to actually join our team. So we are looking for journalists, if you will, writers, and Scribus people that know layout in Scribus. Any assistance would be great. We really appreciate that. We hope you like the look of the new magazine here, issue 2. We have fine-tuned it for typography. We had a few comments from issue 1 that were very well appreciated. And we actually worked with one of the people who commented on our typography from issue number 1. And they helped us to improve it, what we think is an improvement in issue number 2. So we hope you like that. I will also say that the printed version of the typography in issue 2 looks really cool. And it was designed for print, not necessarily digital. So just wanted to point that out. We're happy with that. And then we have here a couple of sort of ads, if you will, an ad for our gift shop. By all means, you have to check out our gift shop. We have T-shirts, we have teddy bears, we have sweatshirts, we have a bunch of stuff there that you can buy with GIMP Magazine. We make a very, very small amount of money off of each purchase there. We have a $5 contribution that you can also make via PayPal. We really appreciate those contributions. They help to cover the cost that we have for running this magazine. And we really do appreciate it. If you could make a donation, that would be great. And we just want to say happy holidays to everybody out there who's reading our magazine. And then finally, at the very last page here, the back cover ad, we have a digital arts course. And again, if you want to learn GIMP or if you want to learn Inkscape, I have this course here. I created it this summer. It's very recent. It's very fresh. And it's about 5 hours and 27 minutes of video tutorials. You can check out a sample on my website. It comes in one DVD, not a CD, but a DVD. And it also comes with a whole bunch of project files that I've sourced onto the CD itself. So both GIMP project files, XEF files, as well as raw images, as well as Inkscape files, because you learn both GIMP and Inkscape in this package here. It's still on sale for $39.99, and it is available via PayPal, via credit card, any other sort of common purchase method. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for checking out issue 2 of GIMP Magazine. If you haven't downloaded it, please do download it. Download it from issue.com or download it from directly from our website, gimpmagazine.org. And we hope to see you back at issue number 3. We've got some really cool stuff coming out, and we look forward to it. All right, take care.